2012 or 2013 when the transition to Git occurred. So so any statistics that you use omits all the commits from 2007 to 2013. That's about 30,000 commits, as I recall. So if you really want careful statistics, we should dig those hidden commits out too. I think the reason they're hidden is because they don't have telephone numbers. But I don't really know. Anyway, that's all I had to say.
Thank you, Greg, for the history. It is really nice to have information from before the project moved to Apache and became an open governance project.
Normally, you don't need that information, but you should just know it's there if you really want to collect numbers. Okay.
Okay, guys, I just want to display an agenda for today for our online viewers. And then we can move to the next presentation.
Thank you, Tomek. Hello, everybody. I am back, and I am back with the SBOM readiness. Probably if you are looking at what happens on the open source and product and legislation area, you saw that there are discussions regarding cybersecurity and how different countries are handling products and product regulations. And I started this SBOM line of presentations, I think 2 years ago, when I was just presenting an idea. Now I'm going a bit further, and I will start presenting. It works? Yes. This is me. I'm an open source advocate. I'm active in several communities. I am a member of the NuttX real-time open. I'm sorry. Operating
TOS.
system. Yes, I'm tired. Sorry. I'm a board member and I'm a software architect working in Sony Ospo in Sweden. I'm really sorry for us. It's already afternoon. All the facts expressed in this presentation are my own and they not necessarily represent my employer's strategy or opinions. As I mentioned, I was monitoring a bit the global legislation, and we have a few legislations around. The European Parliament approved the EU Cyber Resilience Act, or CRA, on March 12, 2025. And this law is fairly big, but it describes how an SBOM, a software bill of materials, is supposed to describe, record, and monitor product security. This is something that looks more like a recipe if we think about. Then we have Bund in Germany, which has cyber resilience requirements for manufacturers and products. They also describe quite well what an SBOM or software or bill of materials should contain. And you can read all the details. And then UK has also something similar. And many other countries have something similar, but I didn't want to bother you with all this. So it would be quite interesting to think that a product has to provide an SBOM, a software bill of materials. And the software bill of materials is a list of components present in a code base, including license, version, metadata, which allow security teams to quickly identify license or security risks. We need to have an SBOM to ensure software transparency. We have to manage open source software and third-party dependencies. We have to identify and mitigate security vulnerabilities, and then comply with legal and regulatory requirements. The two main SBOM types, in my opinion, because there are many other SBOM types, are the source SBOM, which would include the list of all source files that we have in our code base, and a build SBOM, which should include exactly the files, the sources that have been included in the build. So the first one, the source SBOM, is something that you can fairly easy get. You can scan your tree with any tool and you get a list of files that are available in the repository. For the second one, I will come back a bit later. So the open source components in a product, and again, we are talking about a product. We are not talking about NuttX in this context. It is for components that are in a package, and then that package comes with an SBOM. We aggregate the SBOMs that we receive for each package, and we create a big SBOM. With the company creates a big SBOM. They generate the software release together with that SBOM, and they put the product on the market. So things are fairly simple if you work with binary packages. The problem appears when we are working with open source code in a product. And when I'm saying we, I'm thinking about every developer that builds something. The law excludes us, but let's do an exercise. So we have the source code. The source code has different sources from different projects with different licenses. And we are supposed to scan all those, see which ones are built, generate the SBOM for the components, generate the SBOM for the product, and then create the product. Without having access to the build system for each component that comes from the open source, this kind of exercise is almost impossible, in my opinion. So my idea, and why I was asking quite a long time, is that each open source project should help at source in the community and generate its own SBOM at build time, so that when I build NuttX, I get, like in the previous case, and an SBOM that will facilitate the manufacturer or another open source project or us to have a list of what we actually have in our build or product. I know that it sounds a bit complicated, and I would say the same. Why do we have to care as an open source community instead of leaving this on the manufacturers? But if we can provide the SBOM, our open source project becomes more attractive because it will help manufacturers. It will help us also to know exactly if we have issues with our licenses or our software, because we can also study the SBOM for what we build. So I started digging a bit on what we can do to generate the SBOM. And the first thing that I found is the SPDX standard, which is an open standard for communicating software bill of material information, including provenance, license, security, and other related information. SPDX is also a string, but we will come back to that later. SPDX has two versions. Version 2, which defines an SBOM document which contains SPDX metadata about software. The document itself can be expressed in multiple formats: JSON, YAML, XML, tag value, or even a spreadsheet. SPDX version 3, which is the newer version, allows users to communicate information at much more granular level without having a package as an envelope data. Due to the nature of our project, I thought that version 2 is the way to go because it provides less information and we have all that information already available. Then I looked at the RTOS landscape because we, NuttX, are not the only real-time operating system, and there are many others. So we see Zephyr that provides already a build SBOM and the source SBOM. They have a high activity and they are under Linux Foundation. We have also FreeRTOS, which is MIT. They also have SPDX tags. The community activity is low and they are providing SBOM at build and source code. For us, we are still work in progress, but I will come to back to that a bit later. There are multiple tools that can provide some help. Unfortunately, most of those tools, from my findings, do not cope with source files. They work with packages. So if you are using any kind of pre-packaged binaries, the tools work. If you have source code files, the tools are not intended. And at FOSDEM last year, there has been quite a long list of talks presenting the difficulty of creating an SBOM for C projects. We are in a bit of a lucky case here. We added already the SPDX identifiers for the whole code base, and this task has been completed in spring 2025. This SPDX license identifier allows us to scan and automate the SBOM creation. It was the first step. We completed it, and all the new files that we accept into the code base are having the SPDX license identifier. So for the SPDX implementation, we have the objectives to make it fully automated, to use the existing build system, to use SPDX 2.3. This can change at any time, but this is a starting point that I picked. I picked to export the SBOM in JSON format because it's fairly easy to convert. And we are collecting information like file hashes, licenses, and relationship for sources and build artifacts. As you can think, all this information is readily available from the build system and from the files themselves. This is how it would look like. So it's a long tree with multiple dependencies that have to be scanned and documented. Our build system to the rescue. The NuttX build system generates make.deb files in which we have a list of all the files that have been added in the build and their dependencies. With this file, the tool is generating a build SBOM dependency map, which is the actual dependency for the whole build, for your build, depending on how you configure the binary for your product or for your local build, the map will change. And then I started looking at the SPDX specification with all the needed fields to be able to create the tool. As we can see in the example, it's a fairly simple structure which can be easily replicated. So I started doing the header with the tool. This is an automated process. And then the source files and headers and dependencies for each one of them. But I encountered a challenge. We have external projects, which means that the source code for those projects is not on our side. And those external projects miss either license identifiers, or we are not sure if they have a clear license check. And we should do some hand holding, maybe helping them, maybe submitting a few fixes there so that we get the SPDX identifiers in our dependencies. The other idea is to patch locally each of those files before build, but this will be a process which will require a lot of maintenance work, and I don't think that it scales. So I propose that we look at our dependencies and we start speaking with our dependency applications or open source projects, and we see how we can help them achieve the same level as that we have in NuttX. This will help us and will also help the other communities. Some thoughts, since I've been conducting this for almost a year, and I can say that the available SBOM information may be overwhelming. It is a lot of information, a lot of formats, a lot of versions, even for SPDX. We have also another format for generating SBOM, Cyclone DX. So that there is always pros and cons. There are always different people stating that one format is better than the other, and one version is better than the other. So it was quite a challenge just to pick one version, and I tried the one that looked not too old, not too new, and it appeared to be easy to implement for our case. Things may change. We can always change the tools and improve them, but at least we have a starting point now. Another challenge is the SPDX identifier, which may be missing for our dependencies. And if those dependencies are in the main NuttX tree, we can identify them and we can correct them. If they are in your local university project or your build locally, then you will have to help them, those projects, and explain why the SPDX identifiers are needed and how things can be fixed. I found out that the open chain, sorry for the typo, and the SPDX communities are welcoming communities, and I got a lot of help. I would like to say thank you to all people that helped there. And it was a pleasure to work with them, and I would invite everybody to join the open source community and join those amazing communities.